Alright. We're screen recording now, right? Cool. Let's check this. I was recording something. I don't know if I posted a letter to my cat. Oh. Alright. So I got the screen recording going. Oh, wait, dude, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Never mind. I was out here at the park. I wasn't sure what I was going to do as usual, you know? Just going to do some field notes. And so yesterday I started revisiting some letters I had written to people. One I shared with to my parents, one for each of them, and then I wrote one to my cat. And well, I explain a little bit here, but something interesting happened. So as I'm recording this video, somebody's dog starts barking incessantly. There's nobody. It's like at nothing. There's no other dog barking. It's just letting it go on, and it's this beautiful, peaceful park. Now one could say, lots to be expected at a park. But one could also say there's common courtesy. You're not the only motherfuckers on the planet, right? So I'm a fair dude. I'll let it go on for as long as I think's fair. And I don't think about it. Other than that, okay, it's go time. And so I won't, we're gonna witness my behavior. As this happens, I haven't watched this yet. I watched the next video, not this 7-minute one. So we're just gonna go through the whole thing. I'm gonna pause it as it comes up, as emotions come up right now. We're gonna observe, I'm gonna observe and analyze my behavior in real time. And try to go back to what I was thinking, why I was thinking it. This is a dissecting of the self. I mean, I'm watching myself talk here, as in my, the periphery, or this just off to the center here. I'm watching myself eat a fucking banana. Let's play. As men, and I suppose women too, these days, all people, conditioned to suck it up. And when you've sucked it up your whole life, well, not at the beginning. To be real, you're a little bit of a sissy. Not in a bad way, just in you felt everything real deeply. Yeah, fucking A, dude. I'll dive in on that. Yeah, I knew this growing up. I was like, I don't know how to handle these intense emotions. And I was an only child too. And I guess this wasn't until I got into my teenage years, Lost my grandfather. That was a devastating blow. I believe I was 12. Pardon me. I clear my voice a lot. Now that I mentioned it, you're definitely going to notice it if you haven't already. I wonder why. Anyway. It's very difficult to not get overwhelmed. And I remember a couple times, like one time as a kid, and there's this dude, Eddie was his name. We were cool, and I forget what the fuck happened. Something stupid. I don't know if it was him or me that went up to the teacher, and I was crying like a little bitch, and I almost swung on him, but I stopped myself. I mean, he would have kicked my ass, actually, because I'm pretty sure he was in martial arts and shit, and I didn't even really fuck around with, wrestle with the boys that much. But we've all had it. A swelling of emotion that comes up. And so how can we as people not deny those intense emotions, but allow them to pass through you, and so you at least have some conscious awareness and therefore control. You know, the ego gets a bad rap. But does the ego also put the ego in check? This is the question that's coming to my mind right now. So you systematically wall it all off. Well, you tried. And you become comfortable in the goo. You know, purple, sparkly glue, gooey glue, goo. It's warm. Moisture content is just right. It's glittery, sparkly. You're weightless in it.
It does feel nice though, I'm not gonna lie.
You can lie to yourself and say, I want to be stuck like this forever.
I dropped my banana right here.
Works pretty well for a while, doesn't it? Then it's like something, at least for me, buried deep in the subconscious, sees an opportunity to get the hell out of the stagnation. Now, the conscious mind doesn't know this at all. The conscious mind thinks, you know, it's the only driver here. But once the conscious mind surrenders to just two things, I found for me: truth and peace. Yeah. There must be three things. Oh yeah, well, and love, that comes later. We don't have to worry about that right now. Truth and peace. That's it. And so
It was just truth and peace. Now, if you want to know more about the thing that I was moving towards to unlock that, well, you'll have to go dig around. It's buried in the vault. See, this is a public archive. Document everything. So naturally, over time, that would include growth. And so this is an experiment if you're just falling into this channel. The disorganization is the point. The process is the product. It's the point. So welcome. Thank you. I'm Matt, by the way. Hey.
everything I start viewing in this lens, consciously, subconsciously. And as we move, the ego and the soul, seeking truth and peace, we run into those old buried emotions. We built the walls. We've taken all the structural integrity out of the walls except for one final swing. So it would seem. But we wait. We wait.
I'm being intentionally elusive here. But the thing is this kind of imagery evokes feelings that are tied to a whole bunch of things, you know? So, while definitely I was thinking about something specific here, that specific thing is woven into everything. And everything is woven into it.
So basically, as men, and I suppose women too.
Okay, we're back here. As you know, we don't like to edit, so I think we did pretty well. Here we go.
But we wait. We wait. what? Well, you don't know. But we do know that faith, patience, and eventually action, well, you've been acting all along, but you haven't moved forward in one direction because you've been moving in every other direction first. So why am I saying this? I don't fucking know. This is just a wobble. And if you're here, I imagine you're wobbling with me. I'm Matt, by the way. How are you? Thanks for joining me. What I really thought I would want to do right now is revisit some letters I wrote. Maybe just one. You know, I wrote 3 letters a while ago. I don't know if I uploaded them or not. One to my father, one to my mother. You know, I had multiple drafts of these and I got it dialed in. I got them, you know, so Sir Laurence Olivier can read it to us in his sexy English accent. But Calvin's came together so much easier. And it was funny, I was, you know, recording speech to text and just hit the button and either it didn't record or, you know, it said recording error or whatever. And every time I got to that point, I started tearing up. I was like, oh shit. Why is it making me so? Yeah, I'll fill you in a little more there. It was, I think I was trying to say the same thing 3 different times. And getting to the point of feeling like, you know, you could cry. And then every time it was like, no, don't do it. You know, we got to do it again. We got to go back to this whole thing again. And then it didn't record again. And I'd reach that same point and realize it, you know. As I was, you know, you can press the button, you know, and it's supposed to recording error. You think your thumb's on it and then it's not recording. You're like, oh shit. And so it was at least 2 turns or 3 before I could get through it and get the recording. And truth be told, I don't even know if I addressed it the same way. But it's like something really small. All this terrible shit can happen to a person. And it doesn't hit the same as these seemingly really small things. You know, yesterday, I'm just allowing thoughts to come in and leave, but then capture them, like right now. And that in itself is this sort of freedom. So I share it, having no desire to create a YouTube channel or be on social media. I was finding meaning and purpose. I could do that alone, with nothing. What's the ultimate goal anyway? I think I'm closer. I'm obviously closer than I've ever been. Now it's just a matter of getting rid of the stuff and walking out of the basement. Let's get back to, I'm trailing off into the unknown. Let's get back to the path, the great path. Vulnerable. And so, the tears are not weakness. Empathy is not weakness. Love is not weakness. Surrender is not weakness. You know what weakness is? Weakness looks like a grip that won't fucking let go. That's weakness. Something that can't stand on its own. So, let's listen to Calvin's letter. I'm gonna pause it, note my feelings, and hopefully I can cry like a little bitch. And I'm gonna share it with y'all. And maybe you'll cry too. Maybe you'll laugh at me. That's fine too. Because laughter is the best medicine. As long as you leave this video feeling a little better, well, my job is done. Because I'm gonna leave it feeling a whole lot better. And I don't even know where that's gonna lead me. Because I don't have expectations of anyone, even myself. Except for what? Truth, peace, and love. Bitches. Let's go.
Dear Calvin, I still don't know how we found each other. Or maybe that's not true. Dear Calvin, I still don't know how we found each
Hold on
other.
a second. Oh, I guess that was it. It's been a while since I've listened to these. Okay, let's go.
Dear Calvin, I still don't know how we found each other. Or maybe that's not true. I think you found me. Mom thought I needed a cat. Honestly, she was probably right. At the time, I didn't have much of a social life, and maybe she knew something I didn't. So we went to PetSmart to look at kittens. There was a whole cage full of chaos. Tiny little furballs climbing over each other, meowing, wrestling, demanding attention. And then there was you. The runt, labeled as a female somehow, which turned out to be one of the first mysteries you ever gave us. You're definitely a very handsome, very androgynous little dude. Out of all that chaos, you walked over to me.
Yeah, I was just thinking of that. That day. And there's a run of the litter. I walked up to the cage and I was like, oh, hey, look at all you little things. And they were just all running around, and he's in the back over there and just beelines it right to me. It was that day the obsession began.
Like you'd already made your decision. You didn't ask, you didn't negotiate. You simply said, in the only language cats really have, you're coming home with me. And I did. Why wouldn't I? Animals have always seemed to find me. I still don't understand exactly.
They do, but they find my dad even more. It's crazy. It's wild. We used to go catch crawdad and bluegill or blue-belly lizards, and have them in the fish tank or aquarium. Yeah, strays pop up at hotel rooms, motel rooms. Or sometimes there'd be like a property cat at a motel we would go to, and fucking I'd hang out with my dad the whole time. Anyway.
Why? Maybe they aren't reading our thoughts. Maybe they're reading something much older. A nervous system. A heartbeat. A way of being that's harder to fake than words.
All right, we're gonna pause that.
Did you hear that? The dog's barking in the background? So when did that start? A few seconds ago, right? You gotta rewind. I don't want to fuck it up. Say it was a give or take 5 seconds. Oh shit, is that the end? Okay. Oh well, there was a gap. Oh, I paused it. Okay, well, hold on a second.
Still basically a puppy herself.
Fucking dog.
Her tail was wagging back and forth on the couch like it was issuing an open invitation. You looked at that giant tail with absolute confidence. This seems like a good decision. And you pounced. Poor Banner just looked confused. She could have flattened you without even trying. Instead, she was gentle. Just like you eventually became. I miss her. I know you probably do too.
Do I look pissed? I look like I'm having a great time, actually. And I was gracious. I let that go on for at least 20 seconds. I'm looking at my face, though. It doesn't look pissed. I didn't feel pissed. An old me would have. I do get a little tense after I realize, well, the ego is a motherfucker, and some people, well, they don't have any control over it. So, I was prepared for that. I knew that before going in and doing this.
For the first 6 or 7 years of your life, you weren't even a lab cat. You were your own man. You'd hang out nearby, accept affection on your terms. Then, one day, something shifted. Maybe we both got older. Maybe testosterone finally stopped convincing us we had something to prove. Maybe life simply sanded off a few rough edges. Whatever happened, you decided Labs weren't such a bad place after all. Now I can't sit down for 5 minutes without wondering where...
Now, I'm not listening to anything. I'm not listening to the letter at this point. I'm thinking about why I did this. Well, and then the fact that, you know, somebody could come around or irate. And how I would go about doing that. That's actually what I was doing. I was playing scenarios in my head, just several. How to de-escalate or escalate if need be. Well, not escalate, but force with force, right? And then I start analyzing my own feelings in this moment, because it's not anger. If it was anger, I would have started cursing and cussing. I just don't have any tolerance anymore for discourtesy. Yeah, just people that only think about themselves. And that was a really small instance of that. But there are people like that. And you can't change them, but you can show them that they look like fucking, well, what they look like. And because we don't give a shit what they think about us, we could give two shits what they think and tell their friends, right? Even if it spreads a rumor, because we know the truth will always come out. If you live righteously. Ain't that right, Grandma? Let's get back to this analysis.
You are. Usually the answer is directly on top of me. It's something I've never fully understood. For years, you'd sleep on me. And if I moved even an inch, you'd growl. Not angry, just enough to let me know. Don't ruin this. It was the strangest thing. I used to wonder what in the world you were doing. Looking back, I don't think it really matters whether there was some explanation. Maybe you were protecting me. Maybe you simply wanted me to stay still. Maybe you were telling my nervous system something my mind couldn't yet hear.
I think I started tuning back in right about here about sleeping on me and the growling part.
Breathe. Rest. You don't have to be anywhere else right now. Whatever it was, it worked.
Oh, I was just making sure nobody came over here and tried to
More often than not,
start some shit with me.
I stayed.
Somebody wants to get pissed.
You watched me through seasons I hope neither of us ever has to live through again.
They started.
The addiction, the fear, the confusion. The days when I didn't recognize myself. The nights when I didn't.
And that's why some people have called me an asshole historically.
Know if I'd ever find my way home. You never asked me to explain. You never asked whether I deserved your love. You simply showed up. Every single day. Sometimes that annoyed the hell out of me. Sometimes I wanted space. Sometimes I thought, buddy, could you please move? You almost never did. Looking back, I'm glad you didn't. I used to think I was the one taking care of you. Now I'm not so sure. You never sat me down to teach me anything. You never tried to change me. You never offered advice. You never judged me. You simply lived beside me. And somehow, that was enough. You taught me patience without lessons, presence without philosophy, love without conditions. Not because you were trying to, because that's simply who you are. I still love calling your whiskers ancient technology. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're just whiskers. But I've watched you notice things long before I ever did. The unspoken. The tension in a room. The sadness no one mentioned. The days when I needed to sit down before I even realized I was exhausted. You always seem to know, whether that's biology, instinct, evolution, or something none of us fully understands. I honestly don't care anymore. It doesn't make the experience less beautiful. Your bones crack a little these days. Mine do, too. We both move a little slower than we used to. Our eyes still work pretty well, though. We just notice different things. You notice what isn't being said. I'm finally learning to notice it, too. Took me almost a decade. You're still ahead of me. There's one thing I know for certain. People often ask whether we rescue animals. Maybe sometimes we do. But I think they rescue us just as often. Not because they solve our problems, because they quietly remind us who we are underneath them. You reminded me that love doesn't need a reason. Presence doesn't need an explanation. And home isn't always a place. Sometimes, home has 4 paws. A ridiculous little...
I'm not sure why I stopped it there. I think it's because I was in and out, still kind of paying attention. This goes back to what I was saying, been talking about on this channel with the nervous system. Hypervigilance, yet also seeking danger, inviting danger. However, the context here, I understand where I'm at, the type of people that are in this place. So I did a risk assessment. So anyway, I'm gonna revisit that letter again when I'm more in the mood. Right now it's, time to get to work. Also play a little bit. Well, I guess we've been playing this morning. So I guess before I go, just thank God for the opportunity to be here under the trees, under the sun, the ocean right there. Thank you for the water that's still cold. Thank you that I still have one earbud. Always fucking losing. I really ought to get some headphones. Something. Thing is I took it and said, all right, let's set you right there. God only knows where right there was. That's okay though. And then when I lose, or if I lose it, or when I find the other one and then lose them again, it's just how it was meant to be. Really ought to start dividing up my work into a few different channels. Get everything sequenced. There's no reason I couldn't have 3 to 5 channels, 3 to 5 Substacks. Probably one Patreon would be enough. May as well give everybody access to it all. There. I could be done uploading stuff the rate that I go if I just had a system and stuck with it. But stuff is still churning and coalescing and evolving and getting broken down to its constituent parts and then redefined and redefined. Not redefined so much as refined, I guess. And then comes new definitions, new versions of the walk and the talk, the spiritual and the material, because the spiritual without the material is what, folks? Just performative masturbation, really. So, just remember this too. The rat is always what? Always observing. So, Rodent yourself before you wreck yourself. Whoop whoop.